Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. Where my guest today for, I think, the sixth time. Is it possible? Is it possible that you're here for the sixth time? As I say this, it could turn out that you're here for the seventh, and then I'll feel even worse. Uh, let's see. I'm doing the Google search now. Is Doug Wagner, whose new book Narco is a week away from final order cutoff. I've read the first volume or the first issue, and like you continue to up your batshit crazy game,
Thank you.
and I love it. Uh, and this is our seventh Doug Wagner appearance
Wow.
on 22 Panels. Uh, this is the 295th interview episode, and you were 750, 85, 161, 229, 260, and now 295.
Well,
So
I'm going for 22, and then after 22, we're done.
It.
what if I just changed the name of the show at that point?
Okay, well then I'll move. Then it's possible. I'm only doing 22 panels.
Okay, and then we'll have to change the name to 99 Ways to Tell a Story as a tribute to Matt Madden until you get to 99. And then I don't know what we'll do. Infinity War? So Doug, tell us about Narco. I always love hearing your pitches. You're good at distilling your books, and
Oh yeah, I mean I have to
then
get
I'll gush over it.
a sentence, but I mean basically Narco follows Marcus, who's a narcoleptic who passes out when he gets too excited. And of course, what we decided to do is throw him in the middle of a murder investigation because what better way to torture such a character than that?
Well, and the murder investigation of his crush.
Oh yeah.
And like you had my head exploding right at the beginning is he's like writing about, there are probably way more serial killers than we know, and it would actually be a great thing for a serial killer to copy other serial killers so that they could get arrested. And then there's just that you brief like text thing that you're like, oh.
I didn't get the reference. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Um, so yeah, it was ah, I liked this book so much, Doug.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, we had a good time putting it together. I mean, it's obvious, still working with Daniel, and you got Dave Stewart doing colors, which is always amazing.
Right.
So like it just all seemed to fit for us trying to do like, I mean, for Daniel and I, we were trying like kind of like writing a love letter to Hitchcock, because we
Okay.
Alfred Hitchcock movies, and Rear Window is still to this day one of my favorite movies.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, well, how can we fit that into our little universe? How can we do
And
something?
see that this explains the variant covers too,
Oh
because you're
yeah.
making me buy two copies of everything this time around. I try really hard not to do that, Doug.
Sorry. I won't lie, like when we came up with the idea of like doing Alfred Hitchcock movie posters as comic book covers, I didn't know how they would necessarily turn out and how they would look. But now that I've seen all five of them colored and lettered and everything else, I'm personally blown away. I didn't think
Yeah.
I was like, nobody's doing anything like this. Like there are no covers on the stand that look like these.
They're a handful kind of like I don't want to take away from Hilliard because like they're amazing, but like I know that Tony Fleeks and Trish Forstner have had a lot of movie poster variants on Feral and Stray
Yeah.
Dogs before that. Um, so they had actually, I think in recent years, the most impressive set of them, and they did like a crap ton for, I think, a four-issue series, maybe a five-issue series, I forget. Four kids walk in the bank into a bank, the Matthew Rosenberg Tyler Boss series. I
Hmm.
think Tyler Boss probably did a variation of like every crime movie you've ever heard of.
Yeah. I think what's unusual about these though is that like these are movie posters from the 60s and 70s
Yeah,
versus,
yeah.
more, and they're not back then they weren't necessarily design heavy.
No.
There's stuff like, oh, greatest movie ever made, like
Right.
stuff like that on
Right.
there. Like we had to kind of like do our spin on those. And I'm blown
Yeah.
away
I
about how they turned out. Like I'm
No, they are. I mean, the second how to put this? I even like probably even more than avoiding variant covers. And I guess it's not I avoid variant covers. I generally choose one cover,
Mm.
right? Sometimes I'll choose the variant. But even more than avoiding buying a second cover, I actually really try to avoid buying a second cover just because it's a movie
Yeah.
variant. Because it's like I love the movie poster. And by the way, I can see I can pull the cover up on my computer screen anytime I want to look at it. It's not like I don't get to see it. I saw these and I put them both on my list, and it's not just because Edgar gives me a better discount now, though that might have made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Makes that decision a little.
It helps. Doug,
Does help.
I have to ask you, there was a lot of thoughts running through my head, and I don't want to set any spoilers or ruin anything. So say what you feel comfortable saying. So the first one was okay. I love the title, Narco, because when I first saw the title, I thought first drugs. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
maybe that's the me in me, but I'm like, oh, it's about drugs. Then I saw the watch, and I'm like, is he diabetic? And it was for a split second, you had me go, I'm fucking dumb. I'm like, narco, sleep. I'm like, mother, I'm like, 'cause you fucked with my head. I'm like, it threw me off.
Good.
I thought that was really good right off the bat. I'm like, okay, not what I expected. But then when I saw that, there's so and so serial killers, I'm like, uh-oh, are we gonna merge the first question? Are we gonna merge the world? Is it all gonna be part of the same universe that you've created?
Yeah. Narco is part of the plastic verse.
Perfect.
Oh.
That's gonna be it. That already is. You kicked it up another notch. Didn't think it could happen, but you kicked it up a notch. So that's gonna be great.
I guess I kind of expected that just because the fashion school serial killer was also in the plastic verse because
Hmm.
she was in vinyl just a little bit, right?
Oh, quite a bit. But yeah, she was
Well,
definitely in.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but but she wasn't the primary in vinyl. She
Okay.
was
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay.
So the second question is why narcolepsy? Of all the disorders that are out there, if everything that you can possibly go wrong with somebody, how does your twisted mind pick narcolepsy? How did you come up with that?
Basically, I mean, Kevin Gardner, the president of 12 Gauge, actually came to Daniel and I with this basic idea of like, hey, what about a character who passes out when he gets too excited? And so then it was kind of up to us to kind of like fill in the gaps and figure out how that works. And for me, like, I think that whole like, I've always kind of been fascinated by narcolepsy. And so it just kind of came into my head of like, man, what's scarier than like passing out, knowing you're asleep, and not knowing what you're going to wake up to? So like it just kind of led me down that narcolepsy path, and obviously did a ton of research into it to find out if that was even possible and those kind of things. And narcolepsy to me, like even in this kind of like, there's a lot involved, right? With people that have panic attacks and anxiety and that kind of stuff. Luckily, I have panic attacks all the time. Luckily, I've never passed out from one, but like I was like, how can I take that to the next level of like, because I
Oh, you
think,
did.
yeah, with anxiety, like when you get that, like that flight or fight response, right? And like you're scared you're going to pass out and be embarrassed in front of everybody. Well, what if that happened? Like that was the next level. I kind of wanted to add that anxiety and that psychological thrill to Narco.
Well, I mean, well done. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a psychologist, I'm like, huh, yeah, okay, I could see that happen. So that was pretty cool to see. I have a twisted question in response. For my third question was, so is it going to impact him when he's having sex?
Well, luckily we
I
haven't got
mean, I
having
I
sex
was
on
about to
the
say,
yet.
does he get to anymore? I mean, he seemed like he had a pretty good opportunity, and then
He blew it.
So I think that's the fear, right? Like, I mean, now whether he knows that yet or not, that would still be a fear, right? Like, would you want to go down that path knowing that before you even got to taking your shirt off, you would pass out?
I mean, I think you have to be very honest with your partner.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that's hard to do on a
I
first.
mean, I
That's,
mean,
hey, listen.
particularly given the fact that like we saw him prepping for first date, doing all the running and whatnot, keeping his heart rate down, even with lots of exertion. So I think like soon after the first kiss, you should warn your partner
This may
that
happen.
certain things could make me pass out. So if I suddenly fall asleep on top of you, I promise it's not anything to do with your performance.
He's got to keep that watch on, dude. Like, got to know when that heart rate gets to a certain point.
Are you going to intertwine any treatment or
Will
therapy?
he close his eyes and think of England if it hits a certain point? I'm sorry. You were
Is,
saying, Dr. Ramos.
is there going to be any therapeutic aspect? Like he's going to find some type of treatment to help him with that, or anything you can spoil away that's treatment related?
No, I mean, not necessarily, from the psychological standpoint, of like him seeking out help. It's going to be more like, as you've already seen in the first book, it's him trying to learn to live with his condition. And I
Self.
didn't want to like come up with a magical solution as much as like him trying to like, hey, listen, I know I have this. How can I deal with it and still live a normal life? And of course, then we're going to throw him in the middle of chaos and see if that stands up.
Last quick question. Any guest appearances from the other universe?
Not in Narco. Nope.
No. What?
There'll, there'll be Easter eggs, but yeah, no guest appearances in this one. Yeah, you know how we are. We don't want to force anything. We like to throw Easter eggs in there, but we don't necessarily want to have it. We've kind of prided ourselves on making sure each of the graphic novels are complete standalone stories. You don't have to
Yeah.
read one to understand the other ones. And we didn't want to ruin Narco by like trying to
And you
throw
can read them in whatever order.
exactly. And we didn't want to throw Narco in that like, oh well, you won't get this unless you've read the other books.
Right.
I don't think you can ruin it, to be quite honest. It's really good. Yeah, it was a great read actually. I don't think you can ruin it with a guest appearance, but I'm listening. I'm with you.
And remember, Edgar, final order cutoff is a week from Monday. So like 40, 50 copies for the store or something like that. I don't know.
You know what? I was gonna order a lot, but I mean, if no one's gonna show up from somewhere else, I'm like, I don't know, man. It's no,
It's always the challenge.
yeah, yeah. It's on my order list for sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It was a great story.
Yep.
It was solid, so entertaining. The cliffhanger at the end is like, I'm gonna say it, and please don't take offense to it. I was like, you motherfucker! Like,
Yeah.
I,
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
swore
yeah.
I was like,
I
motherfucking what?
see,
Who?
Doug, I managed to forget that I'd read the book. So I read it a second time. And when I got to that is when, as I got to that, I'm like, maybe I did read this a while ago. Because Image actually, I'm on Image's press list now. So I think they gave me a copy of it
Yeah.
almost a month ago, something like that. Um, so like as I'm going through it, I'm like, okay, this feels more familiar than I thought. And initially, I'm like, was there just a preview somewhere that I read? Because I know that there have been a couple of books that there have been like 4 pages in the back of it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think a couple of the websites have had like 4 or 6 page previews. And then I got to the end and I'm like, fuck you, Doug. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Your ears must
Yes,
have
I
been
read
ringed,
this
Doug.
before, and I just blocked it out of my head.
You can't give me a better compliment than you two just gave me. Like
How
that.
dare you?
Now I have to wait for that. Yes.
And Edgar, I do this with all the stores, dude. So like seriously, and very few of them have ever taken me up on it. But like, you order as many copies as you want. Whatever you don't sell, I'll buy at cost from you.
Oh my God.
My word. Like, if it helps you feel more comfortable ordering more copies, and hey, I'm going to push this book without having any like major risk involved, I got your back.
I appreciate that, but
Good to know.
I will push that solid either way.
Well, and here's what I'll say is what you should do is buy enough copies that the buying them back would be a plane ticket, and then just tell him that rather than buying them back, he should fly out
I got to come
and
pick them up.
and sign them all at the shop.
No, I can. I'm a pretty good hustler. I'll have them at the front and
Yeah.
go. You have to read what I do, and
Well, I mean, we already have fashion killer, serial killer up there, unless
if
we
there,
sold it all.
it's actually gone. If I like
Right.
the book, like I truly like the book, and I'm one of those that I have to read it and see like, can I push this? If
Hmm.
I like it enough and I still have 10, 15 copies, I give it to people to read. I go, hey, you know what? Take it. Just read it. If you don't like
Oh
it,
yeah.
bring it back to me. I go, but you tell me what you think. And I have yet to
Hmm.
see anybody bring a book back to me, no matter what.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
So no matter what, it's gonna go into people's hands. So even if, if I cover the cost, but it's like the chicken that they give away in Costco or they sell at the low price. People will take it, they'll like it, and then they're gonna come back and buy other things.
See,
So
I thought you were going to go somewhere else,
no, I'm being
given your hood to hooded storyline.
no, I'm keeping the drugs out of it for now because you ruined it with the narco part. So yeah, no, I'll push it. Yeah.
Here's your taste, is what you say to every customer.
But when you come to Illinois, I want a signed copy from you. I will have you sign it.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
next
was
time
bad.
you're in town, at least if you're not on somebody else's dime, because I discovered that people who are brought in by conventions aren't allowed to do other stuff while they're here,
Oh
which is
yeah, it depends
sad.
on the show. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember
It's
what.
sad, man.
Yeah, there was one show like it was like, yeah, you couldn't do a signing within like 2 weeks on either side of the show within like a 50-mile radius.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, I hear where they come from because for a long time there was like, people, creators would come in and do a store signing or two before the show, and they think that's taking away from people buying tickets for their show. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. I'd have to see some data behind that, but
Yeah, I actually imagine that, like, if you set up a situation where they could buy tickets to the show while they were getting a signature, you would find that it drove sales.
yeah.
Particularly just if they, say, hey, come hang out with me and these other people are there. Or I'm doing a panel on this, come to the show. There's so many different ways that, like, I mean, as they become more pop culture events, I guess they just lose track of certain things. But like comics are still very much at a rising tide raises all. I mean,
Oh yeah.
by the way, like anybody who says a rising tide doesn't raise all ships doesn't understand how ships work. Um, if a rising tide didn't raise all ships, then ships would have problems in harbors.
And you do have young readers. There's a lot of young readers that are still coming into shops, buying stuff. I mean, it's having a shop is having given me the opportunity to see that. And you know what? They also buy comics that aren't about superheroes.
Yeah.
They do.
They actually want independent reads. They're looking and that I think that's a beautiful thing. It's like
I mean,
market.
honestly, in my experience, younger readers are even I mean, superheroes have become the
Okay.
the the like 35 to 65 is the group
Oh,
of people who like superheroes the most. Young readers, if they like superheroes, they like them in movies more than comics, which doesn't mean that they won't read a good superhero comic, but they tend to be really discerning.
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. And women, there's a lot of women that read independent comics too as well.
Right.
I think it's
And
good.
graphic novels out the wazoo. I mean,
And,
I,
and
I I I love talking about my wife is an art teacher and she does the she'll ask the question at the beginning of class, what's your favorite blank? And she told me a story a few years ago. She's like, so yesterday I asked the class what their favorite comic was, and like everybody insisted that they didn't read comics, and a couple of them said, is comic book movie okay? Blah blah blah. Today I asked them what their favorite book was, and I got a dozen people saying smile and half a dozen people said drama, and I got a lot of dog man and I got a lot and I'm like, these are all comics, and they're like, oh, we just thought they were books.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, there's always been that disconnect with like what's a graphic novel versus a trade versus a comic.
Right,
You know,
right.
comics as in America still can't seem to get rid of the stigma of the comic,
Of
you know.
right.
It's
Well,
the
it can't get rid of the stigma of being superheroes, even to a certain extent, which just drives me up the wall.
I mean, in fairness, like what still, what 60, 70, maybe even 80% of comics that come out are
In the comic shop,
right.
if you look at the entire book market, it's way smaller than that.
Yeah. No, I get you. They don't consider those comic books, just like you said, though. So that's where it gets.
Right.
I mean, people, we've had talks about manga, right? And people are like, "Oh,
Right.
like manga's comic books." I'm sorry.
Right. It is.
It's the same
The
thing.
first people to tell you that would be mangakas.
Yeah, it's comic books.
Manga is the Japanese word for comic.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
So
Doug.
who would you say is the perfect audience for Narco?
Yeah.
That's always a tough one because I'm always wrong. Like I thought
Okay.
I thought plastic was gonna I thought plastic would be like skew really heavy male, like 25 to 55 kind of thing. It's the exact opposite. It's 80% female in the 25 to 45 bracket.
Yeah,
Okay.
the true crime junkies.
Yeah. So I think for Narco, like, I mean, obviously, we do have some blood and, some words we don't go for necessarily for the younger crowd. But I think anybody like, I would think anybody, 13 plus, like PG-13 up.
Yeah.
But dude, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I think women are reading more indie books than any ever. That's what I sell to almost like 80 to 90% of the con sales I have are to females.
I believe it. I
So
believe it. I mean,
I would
particularly
say like,
you write in that I mean, the number of women I know, my wife included, who are just huge into true crime,
mhm.
um, where the only place that they like similar stuff that's fictional, I mean, my wife's hilarious. Like, she can handle the most gruesome stuff if it's real. But if it's fictional, she has no time for it unless it's batshit crazy funny as hell.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we're getting that to that point. Like, I mean, this is basically an Alfred Hitchcock style psychological thriller. So I think it can be
Right.
close to anybody that's into that stuff. That's the tough
Right.
thing to figure out. Like, Hollywood has a tendency to try to make everything like fit in a perfect little ball. Like, oh, this is for males between 27 and 35.5. You're like, that doesn't
I
make
mean, are they really looking at windows that big? I thought they were looking at, we're trying to get males making more than $85,000 a year between the ages of 28 and a half and 31 and a quarter.
Yeah. And I would argue that none of that stuff is real. Like that data is so
It's
skewed that it's
not.
almost impossible. You know what
Th-
sells? Good story.
That's how Hollywood executives sound good and keep getting paid a lot of money, even though they don't do anything in terms of making the movies.
Here's one. Everything everywhere all at once. What would you
Mhm.
say is the audience for that?
Everybody?
Yeah. You know what's good story. Period. People want to read a good
Actually,
story,
you know what's
regardless of
ironic is I
what.
bet you that lots of people thought it was going to be for 50 and older men. And of all the people I know, those are the group most likely not to like it because it's
Oh yeah.
like there's too much happening. Why can't they just stick to one story?
Yeah.
Well, the fact that it had a
Where's
female,
the hero?
yeah.
It's like the hero is this old lady. She can't be a hero.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's some stuff like say take Dogman. Dogman specific, I think you can go, hey, here's
Right.
a that that's appropriate for. But at the same
I don't
time,
know, but I think it's brilliant. So, and I'm 45.
they said the same thing about Harry Potter,
Right.
which is a worldwide, whether you like J.K. Rowling or not, it's a worldwide, regardless of age, gender,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sex, everybody loves that story.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, at least everybody buys that story.
Yeah.
Uh, I have to give you some credit here, Doug, because the things you read, my wife is a very she doesn't like horror, won't watch any horror movie, like never got into it, and she enjoys your reads. You make them. I think you really make them for a much wider audience, a very wide audience, because I mean she finds it very easy to read. Like it's not super scary, it's not super gory, and the goriness that is, it's the integration with the art and the story, it's palatable for people like at all levels. And I think that's, I mean, would I give it to a 5-year-old? No, probably not. But you know,
Oh, you know Tommy's reading
I
it.
mean,
Don't
maybe I would.
lie.
Okay, maybe I would, but I'm like I'm very one that's like, you know what? If you can see naked, cherubs, in an art store, art museum, why can't you read what you want to read? So I am very open when it comes to reading. If you walk your child along the realities
Right.
of what it is, so I'm very open to that. But yeah, I think it's a read that everybody can read. I mean, I can tell you funny thing is most of the copies I had of Plastic, the trade edition, went to women.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them went there. Like
Hmm.
it's like, Huh. Okay. So that's kind of I've been
I
watching
mean, I
like,
think the only thing that surprises me about that is that it's got a sex doll on the cover,
yeah.
and still most of them go to women, which means they have to be reading about it or flipping through the pages because I can't see the cover automatically going, "Oh yes, I need to buy my comic with a blow up doll's head." Um, it's like the definition of the book is more than its cover.
Yeah.
Um, so I love that you've continued to work with Daniel. Did you start with Daniel with plastic, or did you, was he on some of the ride before that? I forget.
Well, we started, what did we start on? Uh, we kind of got together way back when, and this is back probably 2008. We met basically during like the Obama administration years,
Okay.
and we did some
Man,
stuff.
those were nice years.
Oh yeah. Uh, we did little things here and there, and then we said, hey, what about doing a creator own thing? And I pitched him a couple of things, and he picked plastic, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I love this." And then that's how we found out we have the same sensibilities.
Okay.
We've been working together nonstop ever since.
Well, and so much so that you started your newsletter that I read religiously.
Oh, thanks.
S-
Yeah, yeah, we
See how
started.
I segued there?
Yep, we started a little newsletter, and we're only putting it out twice a month, and he does one and I do one. So we just do, and we're just trying to learn to like be a little bit more vulnerable to the public because we're both pretty private guys, and we're trying to learn like we're just like
I mean, all evidence to the contrary when you're on this show.
oh yeah. It's like, but yeah, we're enjoying it. Like his comes out tomorrow. So he does the first
Okay.
15th. So
What's the name of the newsletter again? I mean, I'm certain I can pull it out, but it's more fun when you say it.
there's something wrong with us.
Some That's right.
Can we explore
That's
that thought for a second?
Of
Wrong
course.
with
that's
us.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, we just, and you get a little sneak peeks of what we're up to. And, we want to talk more about stuff than we can half the time. So we have to, it's like, well, man, I want to give more sneak peeks, but, publishers tend to get in the way sometimes.
Okay, so I do have to say that there is the downside with that title is that you can't just Google "there's something wrong with us" because
Oh,
you'll
no,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
manga. You have to actually put Doug Wagner, "there's something wrong with us."
And if you just
Be,
go to
be,
sign up's easy on my website, like,
right, or go straight to shock knock. Oh, I did. Do you have a threadless store? I did not know you had a threadless store. Edgar, did you know that you could get a plush t-shirt?
Really?
yep.
I'd be rocking that all day.
Yep. We started doing seasonal things. Like right now we've got stuff up there for Valentine's Day with Edwin in Virginia.
I would.
Edgar, cannibalistic furies, furries rather. Look at that. Edgar, are you looking at your screen? I'm sharing my screen. These are available. Love hypnotized.
Love
Yeah.
the
Love hypnotized.
Do you have retailer opportunities? I'll order quite.
time.
Yeah, how does threadless work with that? Is there a way to?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I could look into it if you're interested. I've really, pretty much it's just like, a print on demand kind of
Right.
store. But if somebody's looking to get some extra copies or whatever, I could see what I could do. I could give them a call. I talk to the guy regularly.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested. Selling. I would sell that merch. I would push that.
Edgar is sitting there going, I need to buy a t-shirt rack.
Yeah. I would definitely. Yeah. I would love to. I would be honored to do that. I think it's. I stand by the work. So I mean that's the 100% is I stand by it. So
Also, he's imagining, bundling, three graphic novels, get a free t-shirt.
Yeah.
You muted yourself, Edgar. We didn't catch that. I
I said
saw
that.
your lips
Yeah.
move.
I said that. Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. I would do 4 graphic novels, but yes, yeah, we
Yeah, I
can.
was about to say, I think actually 4 or 5 would be more appropriate to still make some sort of profit. But yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm still I'm still like reeling from my reread of Narco. Um, so tell me about we're gonna let me reel because you did mention that you've got another book coming out right now that flew completely under my radar because apparently I didn't see it with your name on it because that's the only thing that would have put it on my radar. Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome,
Yep.
which I didn't even know this until I was looking into it for the show. As Cyberpunk 2077 is apparently a video game. Do you play the video game or like how did you get involved with this? I'm
Okay.
assuming it's awesome because you're writing it, but like
Edgar shaved.
yeah, Lee's here.
Sorry, my name is
I,
Lee.
I lightened up a little bit too.
Come on, goodness.
So he does the cyberpunk. So I was like, you know what? That's your area right there.
Yes,
Hey Lee, nice to meet you. Yeah.
you as well, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a Dark Horse 4-issue miniseries. The Cyberpunk 2077 folks contacted me and wanted me to do a horror version of Cyberpunk. So, they were like, we want to do something called Chrome. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like it's probably right in my wheelhouse. So, yeah, we did a Cyberpunk horror story.
So again, do you play the game? I don't know the game. I don't
Oh,
know the
yeah.
franchise. Do you play it already? So you knew it?
Yep.
Okay. So you didn't have to like go like because that's what I always wonder, particularly when it's like the people that I know suddenly have this license gig with a property that and I know video games so poorly that maybe it's a huge video game and I just don't know that it's a huge video. Lee is nodding his head to indicate that yes, anybody who knows video games knows the video game.
Yeah, it's Cyberpunk 2077 by CD Projekt Red. I'm a big gamer. I'm actually working on my third playthrough of the game right now. So
Wow.
it's a lore that I love. It's amazing. But yeah, that was one of the things that one, I'm familiar with your work. I read Plastic. You really got me on that one. I'm like, okay, this guy can write. I like him. And then when I saw your name attached to Cyberpunk 2077, I'm like, okay, like on board, 100%. So that was going to be one of my questions was, are you familiar with the lore? Did you play the game, which you obviously did? Were there any characters that you sort of drew inspiration from, or was it more of, you know what, I'm taking a horror twist, I'm just going to go nuts?
Yeah, for me, it was like, I mean, I knew I wanted to play with the scavengers, because just because of like what they do and how that whole world works with them. And so it was like, hey, how can I do a horror story with scavengers involved and how, that whole like taking Chrome.
Yeah,
Like, and so I wanted to, because they're horror automatically, right? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
they run around stealing people's cybernetics. And so like, yeah, I knew I wanted to play with them and I don't play it. I didn't play it. I don't play it a ton because I don't have a time, but like, I've always been a monster cyberpunk fan. So
Okay.
the fact that the game came out and I'm like, oh my God, I got to play this, obviously, Keanu Reeves shows up in it and I love that, like it's just a really cool, fun game. It's kind of like you can run around and do whatever you want in the world if you really want to. And I just wanted to dive into it.
How did we not know about this book coming out? Where were we? What like
Lee knew about
I at least kind of dropped the ball on that because I often tell you about the new stuff
yeah,
and the problem is I didn't know I don't
he
glom
didn't tell me
on
either.
I
I,
don't
like,
glom on
I got the comic. You
yeah,
good?
I don't glom on to licensed properties automatically. So I really only glom onto them if I know they involve somebody that I either love their work or is a friend of mine. Obviously, Doug, you're both, so I blame you. Why didn't you send me an email saying, "Hey, I'm doing this
I'm a
comment"?
little I'm upset at everybody here because he even knows that I like that. I'm like, look, I have a little Doug Warren a shelf with all that. He knows I like it. You
Oh,
know, like
you
I'm
need to be
upset.
careful now, Doug. He just admitted that he has a little shrine to you.
it. I'll take it.
I
I've seen
mean,
it.
that's like one step away from stop. Are there candles?
Not yet.
I mean, there's a doll. There is a doll.
There
Oh,
is a doll.
There is a doll.
Speaking of horror, like
yeah, that's
Did
all.
you buy a blow up doll and put it on your shelf? And how do you explain that to your children?
It's a private shrine. He's not the only crazy one. Let me tell you.
See that, Doug? You too could become a professional therapist.
No, that I do not want to do. It's like, that means I have to ask questions of myself, and I'm not sure I want to answer.
I thought the whole reason people became therapists was so they could ask questions of other people rather than themselves.
We that way you avoid your own stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
The point
I
of
mean,
the
this is what I noticed. The more the book is something that Edgar relates to, the more he's like, this sucks. I don't want to read it anymore.
See, that's why I like the serial killer stuff and all that because I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't do that, you know.
Right.
But
Uh, you start writing about things that I do. I'm like, Doug, you're gonna get a personal email from me like, hey, let's switch
is it too
directions
close?
here. Too fun.
Love it. Oh.
So, have you done licensed work before?
I have done a couple licensed books before,
Okay.
but I did for about 15 years. Yeah, I worked for DC Custom.
Okay. That's right. I remember that.
So
I
I did
remember you telling me about that. I don't remember reading that because DC Custom is like Ray Chevrolet brings you
oh yeah. Well, did stuff in cereal
Superman.
boxes and
Right.
I did do World of Warcraft. I did do
Oh, cool.
World of Warcraft, and then got a chance to do some actual Batman stuff. So like Legends of the Dark Knight, I got to do the online thing there. And
Right.
Origins, I got to work with those guys. So there was a bunch of licensed stuff involved in there.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, in the comic book world, I separate Marvel DC license from non-comic book license.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
fair. And
right.
it's a totally different beast.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask is like, what's the experience of writing? Because I've talked to a lot of people about a lot of different license books that they've worked on, and you hear everything from it was a nightmare. I had to rewrite, and every time I turned in a script, there would be somebody else who would read it and go, "Oh no, this is not how it works in our." And it's like, can't you all read it at once?
And there's some truth to that. I mean, it depends on the group
Right.
you're working with and that kind of stuff. So like
And
with
then there are other people that are like, "Pff, it was easy. They just said, no, this is the comic book. Do your thing."
Yeah, I mean, with Cyberpunk, there was probably, I mean, I had two editors at Dark Horse, and then probably 4 to 6 at Cyberpunk.
Okay.
So luckily, I'd had enough experience to like at one point, like they were kind of sending me random notes individually, and I had to say, hey, you guys got to get together and agree on your notes because they would honestly
Right.
sometimes, and it's just the part of the game. One
Right.
editor would send me a note, and another editor would send me a note, and they'd be conflicting.
Right. One
Like,
of you is saying this character
oh,
must die, and the other one's saying that he's eternal. What the
right.
fuck, man?
Yeah, you have to learn how to navigate that a little bit and not take it, like, yeah, you got to have a little bit of thick skin when you dive into some of these licensed things because you are going to have, I mean, World of Warcraft, I think I had 10 editors.
Oh,
And so, you're just talking about like, okay, you're going to get all these notes and you got to
How
try.
crazy is it when you've got more editors than there are people actually creating the book?
I mean, dude, and you got to understand, they're just trying to protect their brand.
No, I get I do understand that. I'm not like actually I get where it comes from and whatnot, but like for particularly because I imagine that part of what you try to do, or at least what the Dark Horse editors are trying to do, is make it as easy as possible for the artist not to have to draw things twice.
Right.
You guys are taking like all of the bullets from 17 different directions.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
not that bad on this book, but like it's got to
you
be interesting sometimes.
you get a lot of, and some of it you're not going to agree with. Sometimes you'll pound the desk and go, oh, that's a bad idea, but I got to kind of do what I'm told. And it's, you got to realize like it's all opinions.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So
dialogue. They're like, hey, I don't agree with this line of dialogue. You need to change it. And you're like, okay. Like, just
so actually that leads I was at a panel once where I'll name the creator that had a great experience and not the creator that was having to say that their experience was less than, and also not the license property. But there were two people that had both done licensed stuff, and Mark Russell was talking about his time on the Flintstones. He's like, I got notes, and the first time I got them, there was this long list of notes, and thank God my editor said, well, like, read them and interpret them how you will, and we'll see where it goes. And I got away with making the Flintstones that you love. It's like things like I had to have Yabba Dabba Doo in every issue, and I decided, you know what? That's going to be his curse word. That sort of thing. Whereas the other creator was like, it was the worst experience of my life. I was so excited to get this, and I think we made some really cool things. But my God, the amount of times we had to go through and go through and go through, and I'm sitting there going, I know this property. I grew up with this property. I'm respecting this property. Why don't you respect this property?
Dude, and I mean, the thing is, I mean, with comic book writing, you only get paid once you turn in the pages.
Once.
You only get paid once. So on
Right.
some of these, like you're talking about, like, yeah, where there was one uh, project where I had to rewrite the script 9 times. And so that for me was like almost a 3 month period. But I only
Right.
got paid at the end of that 3 month period.
Right.
So, I think they sometimes, because they're mostly salaried, they lose, perspective on the fact that, like, hey, you can keep changing all this stuff. But like,
Right.
I'm not getting paid. Like,
Well, and or they're used to Hollywood writers who have, once they've been put on the project officially, they do have rewrite fees and
oh yeah.
whatnot because of the way the guild is set up. So yeah, you're right. There's probably an element where it does not occur to them that every time they make you rewrite it, they're cutting the amount you make for writing it in half, essentially.
You could always rewrite it where you add their death in the book, or some gruesome, thing that occurs that, you have some creative freedom there.
Just so you know, I put your name in the next book and I killed him, kind of thing. Like, that's your passive aggressive threat.
I mean,
I, I I
make it
did
like
once
Mythoplake, make it
talk.
backwards.
I did once talk to a major superhero character writer who their son was being bullied by a kid that was a big fan of the superhero that they were currently writing. And what they told him was, well, the next time he says that to you, you turn to him and you say, my dad writes blank. And if you don't watch it, he's going to kill him.
Oh, there's trauma there.
Yeah, there's a little trauma. Yeah.
Or job security.
It's a little bit of both.
So, Doug, I have a question for you. Given that, again, big fan of your work and the cyberpunk, I'll just all blend into one. With this story, and I'm going to try to ask this in a way that doesn't. I'm not trying to fish for spoilers at all.
Right. Oh yeah.
How?
That means he is.
I'm really not. With this particular miniseries, given that it's Night City, sort of there's no good endings that happen. With these stories, how or what are you doing to make this story unique in this world, this lore?
Yeah, I mean that's always a tough one too, right? Like, I mean, there's so much Night City stuff and so much cyberpunk stuff. Like, how do you try to make it unique? And for me, my take was like, obviously create my own characters and kind of have fun with it. But I don't think they've done a horror miniseries yet. There's some horror built in automatically anytime you're doing Cyberpunk 2077, but this was like a straight up horror flick. And so I was following the rules of horror films and those kind of things. And hopefully it's the characters that stand out. That's what I always try to let, I think characters and stories stand out the most. And hopefully people will fall in love with the characters enough to where they're like, hey, I enjoy this. Obviously with Cyberpunk, you can't go too far in one direction or another because like I said, I have editors that control me on that. And
Absolutely.
I won't lie, I pushed some boundaries, I'm like, hey, well, they let me get away with this, and they didn't.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that the horror aspect of it and the strong characters make it stand on its own.
Okay.
I mean, I will actually read it, and probably won't bother to learn anything about Cyberpunk 2077 before I read it.
Hopefully you don't
So,
have to.
like, Lee, if I need to, I'll be calling you, but I will also be the perfect test subject for whether or not it works without.
Yep.
Because like I didn't even realize it was a property until I looked it up. Like I knew until you sent the email saying, "Oh, I'm also doing this." I went, I feel like I've seen that somewhere, and I immediately saw that there'd been other comic series. So I'm like, "Oh, so this is a comic property." And then I looked at it and like, "Oh, it's a video game." I still don't know what the video game's about.
Yeah, and at least the way I read it, and I'll one sort of point this first part to you, Tad, but then the second part I'll sort of say to Doug is I think it reads very well. Like you don't need to know the lore, the background of Cyberpunk 27. It sort of reads as though it's just again its own story, right? It just happens in this own universe. So
Okay.
I'd be interested to know, especially for the both of you that aren't really familiar with the lore, what y'all take away from it. I thought it read
Yeah.
well. But going back to your point, Doug, about how it's a horror
Hmm.
series. Um, I was sitting there reading, and I won't say too much, but I'm sitting there, I was like, I know something's gonna happen. I know something's gonna happen. But then the way it happened was just like, oh no. Like that was of all the
Well,
ways.
and this is also really quickly where we should tell our listeners that while we told them the final order cutoff on Narco is a week from Monday, and therefore let your comic shops know to order Narco for you. Cyberpunk, the first issue of Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome came out 2 weeks ago, so it's already on the shelves. Or if you can't get it off the shelves, they can order it for you immediately, or you can buy it off of Global Comics or Neon Ichiban. Lots of places if you want to go read it now, and I will probably be doing that once we're done with the.
There it is.
And there's Lee holding up his comic. His is that yours, or is that one available for sale?
This is one that's available for sale.
Okay, so it is available at Modern Age Comics in Algonquin, Illinois, if you're in the Chicagoland market. Otherwise, they can ship it to you.
Yeah.
Uh, modernagereader.com.
Oh,
Got to get those plugs in there, Doug.
oh yeah. And
Appreciate
Lee, I
I
appreciate.
finally have I finally have plugs to put in.
Yeah. Lee, I appreciate what you said too, because like I was when we were talking about it, like I wanted to talk about like how can I kick somebody in the balls right out of the gate, as fast as I possibly can. And I'm glad you said that because I like that's what we wanted to do is like really like almost like a shock jock, kind of like, man, we really want to kick you hard right in the beginning of the story to like make you go, oh shit, this isn't normal cyberpunk.
no.
So you're saying that's become your thing now, because that's
Yeah,
what you did with Narco too.
I've loved kicking people in the balls since I was.
Well, but see, like previously in your first issues, like there were fantastic kicks, but they were ones that I went hell yes for rather than fuck you. There's a difference. It's
Yeah, I get.
different when you find out that this character you love is the serial killer with the heart of gold.
We gotta mix it up. I don't want to keep doing the same kicking the balls every time. So
First, you got to get the left side, then you got to get the right side.
It sounds like a kick in the rub. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
That actually my wife is a big fan of puns, and she's a Midwesterner. And she showed me a meme today, and we won't go down the rabbit hole, but this is too funny and on point not to tell it. Um, Saying that they have run out of hot dish in Minnesota, and so now they're making kick casserole.
I like it.
Um, so
I think it's a good time for me to break out of here.
yeah, he's
Doug,
gonna have to run.
just wanted to say, love your work. Obviously, now you have two people here. Love your work. I mean, I've loved everything you've had already, so it's just great. But Narco, for everybody out there, pick it up. I don't just
Yeah.
pick read. It's a great read. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me coming from you. So always an honor to talk to you and hear about what you're working on.
Same, Edgar. It was always great talking to you. Lee, it was nice meeting you. And guys, if you let me know if there's anything I can do to help support the store, I'm always about, we're in a symbiotic relationship. I can't do what I'm doing, and you can't do what I'm doing without each other. So always feel free to reach out.
Appreciate it. You take care, Doug. Tad, always a
Thank you,
pleasure.
sir.
Absolutely. Lee, are you sticking around, or is Edgar taking the computer with him?
You can go log in yours if you want.
I'll stick around.
See you later,
Uh,
Edgar. Good night, man.
s- so I mean, A, I haven't gotten to closing questions yet, but B, I am trying to slow play you a little bit because Tyler really wanted to come because he hasn't made it since like your second appearance on this show.
Wow. Yep.
I think the last time he made it was, well, actually, it might have been your third because I think it was the one where you were with Tim
Oh yeah, Tim Odlin. Yep.
Odland. Yeah. For oh no, that was the second appearance. So yeah, he hasn't made it since the second appearance. But he also opened a comic shop, the Nexus Vault in Laverne, Minnesota. So as it turns out, as you know, running comic shops take time. He was thinking that things might be slow enough this afternoon that he could like zoom in and just mute himself when he had a customer, but I got a text from him like 4 minutes before we started saying, I'm swamped. I hope that I'll get in.
Dude, I mean, I would rather him be, honestly, I'd rather he be swamped at the store than be here.
And overall, I think he would too, but
Yep.
he misses you.
Thank
I mean, you're a fun guy to talk to, Doug.
you.
Um, I will start towards closing questions because I don't want to keep you forever. And I have two of them now.
Okay.
And one of them I haven't asked you before, so I'm kind of looking
Sweet.
forward to it because I've heard a lot of stories from you. Um, so I'm certain that you have even more. Uh, like I'm just entering my fifth year of doing this podcast, and I feel like the last 4 years have been like the Twilight Zone. um like my life has just completely changed, whether it's being able to hang out with Doug Wagner on a Saturday night, or come by your table at C2E2 and have you like recognize me and chat and blah blah blah, or going to baseball games with people who used to just be names in comic books to me. It's like I feel like I live in this whole different world. It's even more weird because, like, as we have not talked about and will not talk about, the world that we live in right now is among the worst possible timelines. So it feels really, really weird to me that my personal timeline is like suddenly so much better than the first 40 years of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's because of the surreal nature of the world of comics, where it's just such a close community where superstars don't realize they're superstars or don't care that they're superstars. They'll hang out with whoever. We discover all the time people are comics fans that were shocked are comics fans. Twice when I've asked the question I'm about to ask, I've gotten stories involving Quentin Tarantino. One of them actually involved Quentin Tarantino's mom, which just like so one of my new questions is um tell me one of those surreal stories from your comics career. Tell me one of those things that even thinking about it now, you like pinch yourself. He's like, did that really happen? And like if you were to tell the 10-year-old self or the 20-year-old self or whatever age you were right before you started having these experiences on a regular basis, that they were gonna be able to like one day do that, they would have gone, yeah, fuck you. You're nuts.
I mean, I've been lucky that there's been plenty, like, I mean,
Yeah, everybody has.
yeah, and it's I feel blessed with so many of them, and I think one
Right.
that immediately came to mind was one night at the end of San Diego Comic-Con. So this is when 12 Gauge set up a booth at 12 Gauge, I mean, at San Diego.
Right.
And one of the people signed, she had done a book with us. Rosario Dawson had done a book with us.
Okay.
So she's signing the whole weekend. And so, like, the last night, she's like, hey, we're going to go out and party. Like, we're going to have a good time, blah, blah, blah. So we go out, we all go out. Like, she's buying shots for people that she doesn't even know, strangers, on like she took all the female waitresses into the restroom and they all shared a shot together. Like she's just this amazing person. And so like Jason Pearson, who's no longer with us, but he was there too. Like he and Kevin Gardner are absolutely wasted. Like they're trashed beyond belief, right? Like, and so Jason, when he gets drunk, he would get like really super hyper. And so at one point he takes off running and he dives on our table, right? Like slides across the table with all the beer bottles and shot glasses and everything shooting through the air. Like, and you could tell the manager of the place was like, and Rosario was like, don't worry, I'll cover it. Like she was super cool, super nice, one of the nicest, sweetest people I've ever met. Um, and so the whole night's just like this whole like nonstop craziness, like that stuff coming out. I never thought in any timeline I would get to party with Rosario Dawson or even just hang out with
That's
her.
right.
So like then like this is 3 o'clock in the morning. The only two people that aren't drunk are Brian Stelfreeze and myself. And so then she goes, you know what? We need to go back to the hotel room and count all the money. This is 3 a.m. Like so so we all go back to we're walking back to the hotel in the middle of the night. Brian and I are the only two that can really walk a straight line. So we're almost like it's like herding cats, right? Like we're making sure
Right.
balls or trips and that kind of stuff. Half of the people don't even know where they're at. Like Jason Pearson and Kevin Gardner are so drunk, they have no clue they're even in San Diego. So we get to the hotel room and we're counting all so it comes, of course, because we're the only sober ones. Brian and I have to count all the cash. And from her signing and stuff. And I won't lie, I was a little bit jealous. They're trying to figure out how to divvy up $50,000 in cash. You know,
And you're like 10,000 for the people who count it.
yeah, exactly. That's what we're thinking. But Brian and I are a little too honest. So then we have to walk Kevin back to his hotel room, who's still trashed, but he's just holding 10 grand in his hand. No envelope, no bag. He's just holding a handful of cash in his hand as he's walking down the aisle to leave. He has to lean up against the wall to keep himself up. So every time he comes to the door, boop, 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 we catch him walking to the next door. So like it was just one of those surreal nights that like, you never planned for, you couldn't possibly plan for, but like,
And you didn't decide to go, let me hold that for you.
oh no, I mean, well, Brian and I had a talk halfway through on whether we should mug him or not because we're not sure he'd remember. So
Like,
like,
that's my point.
we're
That's
like,
my
well, he's
point.
our friend. Like he's probably going to realize we took it. Like but yeah, it was just one of those crazy.
No, he's your friend. He would never assume that you were the one that took it.
It's just one of those crazy fun nights that like
He was hammered. He'd assumed that he'd given it to the bellboy that helped him get to his room.
yeah, it was just one of those, like you said, it was a surreal experience. And like I said, I mean,
That's
Rosario ended up being like one of the nicest, sweetest humans
yeah.
I've ever met in my life.
That's so amazing. Though I do have to say the one thing that would have made it better when everything got knocked off the table and she was telling the manager that she'd take care of it. The next thing she should have done is gotten a broom and made him clean up all
No,
the
no,
glass.
she knew we were out of control. She was like, "Hey, this is going to stay out of control for a while, but we'll make sure everybody's compensated properly."
Right.
So yeah, it was
It
just
still would have been funnier. That might
yeah.
be a way to write it in one of your comics in the future. Have the person who was seemingly drunk suddenly be very stern. Those ladies are going to have to clean up tonight, not after your shit.
Yeah, it was just a wonderful, like, and I've met her a couple of times, and she's
Yeah.
like very humble, very sweet. Somebody,
Well, and I've heard that she's like a real geek too.
oh yeah, she is. Yeah, she's a super geek. Yep.
You know that it's not just that she does this stuff because she happens to be in geeks. I mean, I've heard that like she's in Sin City because she heard it was being made and she called Robert Rodriguez and said, "You're putting me in Sin City."
But she loves all that stuff. She loves San Diego. She loved all the people. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's such a fantastic story. Well, if Tyler doesn't show up in the next few minutes, I will apologize to him and cry, but it'll also mean that he probably made more money today, so we'll only cry a little bit. And we're gonna jump to the general final question that you've had to answer many, many times. I don't remember your other answers,
I won't either.
so so if you wind up giving another one again, I probably won't call you out on it. But if you do, if it immediately rings a bell, like the last time Mark Russell was on, he tried to give me the same answer that he'd given like two times before. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You have said that before. I need a different one. Tell me something you love, preferably a comic book, but we don't really have rules. preferably storytelling, but again with the rules, but something that you love that not enough people around you have experienced and you need them to so that you have more people to talk about it with.
This is a cool one because I just reread. I bought the hardcover and reread Cosmic Odyssey,
Hmm.
and it is still maybe my favorite DC story, self-contained story that I've ever read. I love it from cover to cover. Mike Mignola did the artwork on it. Jim Starlin wrote it. It's one of my favorite team up books ever.
I
Um,
don't know if I've read this.
oh, you should. I don't
Yeah,
know how
I
big
mean,
it is.
you just said like Starlin and Mignola, so yeah, I am kind of surprised that I haven't read it.
They just did re-release the hardcover recently.
Yeah,
I was like, I haven't read this in a while. I'm going to check it out, and I loved it. It's just so much fun. The way they handle Batman is maybe one of the best Batman handlings I've ever seen. The new
I
character in it, and of course, the way Jim Starlin branches them out is fantastic. So yeah,
yeah,
check it out. I loved
I
it.
I am I don't know. I mean, I guess the reason I don't know this is that it's just like dead on the wrong time for me not to know it and hasn't been re-released enough times for it to have popped onto my radar because it came out in 1988, which is when I went from comics to baseball and hadn't come back to comics yet.
Yep.
Um, and it's DC where I've always been a Marvel guy.
That's
I
fair.
mean, it took me a long time to get into DC. But yeah, no, we got Dark Side. We got, yeah, no, this
Yeah, it's a cosmic odyssey.
I I am impressed enough when people come up. I mean, I asked this question in hopes of finding things that I haven't heard of and I have to go find, or things that I have, but I need to put higher on my pile or whatever, right? So I'm always impressed when somebody comes up with something that I haven't heard of. But you not only managed to come up with something that I haven't heard of, but something that I hadn't heard of from fucking DC Comics
Yeah.
that also looks so good that I could read it by the end of the weekend,
Yeah.
depending on like just how all of the rest of my schedule plays out, which is just that Doug, that right there is almost as impressive as your writing generally is, and almost makes me forgive you for the end of Narco issue one. But
Which I got to jump in here too because I didn't hear anything about Narco. I'll be honest with you, I didn't hear anything. But when I heard, I did hear Edgar and Tad talking about. It. I'm like, what? I think I need to read this now. Think I need to get my balls kicked twice. So
And that's
um
okay to say you enjoyed it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah. Um
going to throw out one
yeah,
more because I
yeah,
think
please.
besides DC, we got to do indie as well. And there's a book called
Okay.
Drome, Drome.
What was that? Dro
Dro.
Jesse Lonergan.
Yep.
It was
It's fantastic.
it was my graphic novel of the year for last year.
Yep. It's
That
very,
has gotten lots of attention on this show, and it is.
oh
It's
yeah.
amazing. Also at and like I just told Lee about this, he's working with Mignola on Miss Truesdale.
Oh yeah. That'll be
I
fantastic.
mean, I mean, it is fantastic. The first issue, two issues were out, and they did. It's their second edition that they're doing together. Um, that like I don't generally buy single issues of Hellboy stuff just because I'm never going to manage to get all the back issues at this point.
Right.
So the completist in me is like, okay, like I don't want to get to the point where I start going, oh, I need to go track down. I buy nice hardcovers and whatnot, but Jesse Lonergan, yeah, I buy everything Jesse does. I love actually this is how much I love Drome. Drome has been my graphic novel of the year on 22 panels twice.
Wow.
Because when it was unpublished but available through his Patreon, he'd finished it up in 2023. And like, not only had I read it page by page, he posted it. Like, he put together the PDF with the whole thing. And when I read the whole thing together, It was my it was unpublished and it was my graphic novel of the year in 2023. And
Awesome.
then it
That's
was my graphic novel of the year again in 2025 and it's beautiful, beautiful hardcover form. This is me saying again that anybody who hasn't read Jesse Lonergan needs to go and read literally anything he does. For that matter, the conversation. Have you read any bad? Well, you did some work for Bad Ideas. So have you been reading? Have you seen Matt Kint's Save Now?
oh yeah.
It's so good. Did you see the Save Now Zero?
I hadn't seen the Save Now Zero.
That came out this week,
Oh
and
wow.
and all of the solicitation for it only mentioned Juan Jose Rip, who I love. So, that was cool.
There it is. Oh cool.
But there are also short stories done by Cano and Jesse Lonergan.
Nice.
And the Jesse Lonergan short story is like worth the price of admission and then some. And it's like, how do you not solicit that this is in this? And still sell a crap ton of them. So I mean, clearly it was, but that's kind of been a bad idea thing. I mean, the bad idea was the company that like made the surprise backup story of Matt Kint and David Lapham's hero trade.
Oh yeah. Dude, that's Dinesh is a little bit on the insane side, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna always put something in a book that I'm not gonna tell anybody about. No,
Right,
or hey, I'm gonna put out an issue and nobody knows it's coming." Like
right.
Robert Kirkman are like that, right? Like they'll just go, "Hey, I have
Yeah.
a crazy idea and I'm gonna do it," and they do it.
I mean, yeah, there's still been no greater holy shit than Kirkman ending Walking Dead, even though he'd solicited two more issues.
Yeah, he's insane. I love him, but he's insane.
Well, but you like, I mean, even with, I was working in a shop at the time and there were people so pissed off about it and whatnot. And I'm like, the more I think about it, the more this is how it had to be.
Mhm.
Because did he, not only would it not have worked as well if we knew it was coming to an end,
Mhm.
he also did the impossible in this issue, which is he managed to give Walking Dead a happy ending.
Yep. And it just
I literally for years I had sold Walking Dead and Saga right next to each other, and one of the things that I would say to differentiate them, because I mean obviously they're very different stories, but what they have in common is that they're absolutely stories of human endurance. It's like, what can you be put through and hold on to your humanity to keep going to whatever. Um, and then I'd say, but the thing about Saga is it's narrated by the girl born on the opening pages, so it's got a better than average chance of a happy ending, and I just can't see that with Walking Dead.
right,
And then he fucking did it.
which is unlike Robert.
He fucking did it. He pulled off the happy ending, and again, pulled it off even more because the whole time we're reading it, we don't know it's the ending. It's not until we get to the end that we go, oh, wait a minute, this is where it stops. Holy
Yeah,
shit. That was amazing.
that was pretty cool.
Doug, it is always a pleasure. If you're ever out in Minnesota, Tyler would love to see you at Nexus Vault in Laverne, and I'll remind him to reach out to you and probably tell him about what you do for people who boost your books in terms of mitigating their sales. Um, and obviously, if you're in Chicagoland, we want you out at Modern Age Comics. Yeah, look at
Bring it
Lee.
back.
I'd love to have you, man. I love
Oh
it.
yeah,
Lee's like, I have a car. I'll drive to Utah and then I'll drive back to
100%.
Chicago. You
gotta
want to
make it
come
back out there
tomorrow?
soon. Yep,
I
it's
can
been a
be
couple
there by
years.
like 6 a.m.
It's
I'm young. I don't need sleep.
it's been a couple of years. I need some more good food. So yeah, I'll be out back out Chicago here pretty soon.
Love to have you,
Uh,
man. We'll definitely have some good food here.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
well, I like to hear it.
Edgar's actually an outstanding cook. So like we can both take you to nice restaurants and just take you home with him.
Well, that scares me a little bit. I mean, he just did admit to having, a temple. So like,
That's true, but he's also
One
got
step at a time.
a wife and two young children to keep him in line.
yeah,
So
but you can send those over to mom's house pretty quick. Like,
well, no, mom's house is I think closer to the comic shop.
I write this stuff. I know how this goes.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe you won't take advantage of his cabin.
But
The
Tad,
cabin in the woods, just I
yeah.
feel like that's even been the title of something.
Tad,
For
always
Doug,
having me on. Lee, it was
yeah,
fantastic meeting you.
yeah. For Doug Wagner, this has been 22 panels. We will see you after the next page.